someone in a position of influence or control over policy decisions, institutions, or resources may be more susceptible and vulnerable to corruption. And because corruption is often connected to money laundering, new anti-money laundering regulations require that brokerages take reasonable measures to determine whether a person is a politically exposed person, head of an international organization, or an immediate family member or associate of a politically exposed person or head of an international organization. While the new regulations designate brokerages as responsible for meeting these obligations, in practice, they are typically delegated to realtors. And with that in mind, we'll refer to you, the realtor, in this video and your role in meeting these obligations. After determining whether a person is a politically exposed person, head of an international organization, or an immediate family member, you must then determine if they are considered to be high risk. If they are considered to be a high-risk client, then you must follow the procedures for your brokerage on dealing with high-risk clients. A politically exposed person can be domestic or foreign. A domestic politically exposed person is someone that, within the last 5 years, held a specific position within Canada's federal, provincial, or municipal government. It could be a governor general, lieutenant governor, or head of government, a member of the Senate, House of Commons, or member of legislature, deputy minister or equivalent rank, ambassador, representative or counselor of an ambassador, military official with the rank of general or above. It can include a president of a corporation that is wholly owned directly by Her Majesty in right of Canada or a province, head of a government agency, judge of an appellate court in a province, the Federal Court of Appeal, or the Supreme Court of Canada. It could also be a leader or president of a political party, represented in a legislature, or a mayor of a city, town, or village, regardless of its size or population. These individuals are considered domestic politically exposed persons when they hold that position and for 5 years after leaving that position. A foreign politically exposed person is someone who holds or once held a position with a foreign state, head of state or head of government, member of the Executive Council of Government or member of a legislature, deputy minister or equivalent rank, ambassador or attaché or counselor of an ambassador, military officer with a rank of general or above, president of a state-owned company or a state-owned bank, head of a government agency, judge of a Supreme Court, Constitutional Court, or other court of last resort, or the leader or president of a political party represented in a legislature. And once someone has been determined to be a foreign politically exposed person, they are forever considered to be a foreign politically exposed person. Another category of individuals that are considered susceptible to corruption are heads of international organizations, HIOs, which can be the head of any international organization established by the governments of more than one country or an institution established by an international organization. Examples of an HIO would be the World Bank Group, the North Atlantic Treaty Organization, or NATO, and the Bank for International Settlements. Immediate family members and associates of politically exposed persons and heads of international organizations are also susceptible to corruption and are therefore included among those that you are reasonably required to identify. Immediate family members of a politically exposed person include parents, siblings, children, a spouse, a spouse's parents, and a spouse's siblings. When someone is determined to be a foreign politically exposed person or an immediate family member of a foreign politically exposed person, they carry that label for life. On the other hand, domestic politically exposed persons and heads of international organizations and their family members are no longer considered to have that status after 5 years of leaving office or 5 years after their death. And this means that risk controls must remain in place for family members of domestic politically exposed persons and heads of international organizations over that same 5-year period. And there are also close associates of politically exposed persons and heads of international organizations, which can include someone who is a business partner, a member of the same board or political party, someone who worked closely on the same charity, or even someone involved in a romantic relationship. A close associate remains a close associate until they lose that connection. So, what does this all mean? Well, you must take reasonable measures to determine whether or not a client is a politically exposed person, head of an international organization, or an immediate family member or close associate when you enter into a business relationship, when conducting ongoing monitoring of your business relationship, if you detect a fact about your existing business relationship, or if you are in receipt of at least $100,000 in cash or virtual currency from your client. Reasonable measures to make a determination include asking the client, doing a search on the internet, or conducting a search through a commercial database. And if, after making the determination that someone is a politically exposed person or an immediate family member or close associate of a politically exposed person, you must take reasonable measures to establish the person's source of wealth within 30 days. And all foreign politically exposed persons and any domestic politically exposed persons and heads of international organizations deemed to be high risk must be subject to enhanced ongoing monitoring. And if you receive cash or virtual currency of at least $100,000 from a high-risk domestic politically exposed person or heads of international organizations, you must also make reasonable efforts to establish the source of the funds and ensure that a member of senior management or managing broker within your brokerage reviews the transaction. When you have determined that you're working with a politically exposed person or head of an international organization, a family member or close associate, there are certain records related to the business relationship that you must keep. The office or position and name of the organization the politically exposed person or head of an international organization belongs to, the date of the determination, and the source of the person's wealth, if known. If you receive a cash or virtual currency transaction of at least $100,000, you must also collect the source of the cash or virtual currency, the senior manager or managing broker that reviewed the transaction, and the date of that review. In all cases, these records must be kept for at least 5 years after the records were created. And in the next video, we'll discuss ongoing and enhanced monitoring requirements.